Stand on any street corner in London today, and you'll hear dozens of languages in just a few minutes. Nearly 4 in 10 Londoners were born outside the UK. It's one of the most diverse cities on Earth, but 2,000 years ago, none of this existed. No skyline, no streets, no city, just marshland beside a muddy river, strategically worthless to everyone, except one empire. And yet, from this unlikely patch of ground came a city that would survive invasion, fire, plague, revolution, and total destruction. Not once, but again and again, London has been burned to ash, abandoned, rebuilt, and nearly erased from history. For centuries, we could only imagine what those lost versions of London looked like through faded sketches and fragile drawings. But today, using AI trained on historical imagery, we can finally step inside the past and see London as it may have truly appeared. This is 2,000 years of survival in one journey. Let's go back to where it all began. The year is 43 AD. 4 Roman legions land on the coast of Kent and begin pushing inland. Their objective is simple but vital: secure Britain as a Roman province. To do that, they need a reliable way to move troops, supplies, and trade goods between the island and the rest of the empire. They are searching for a river crossing, a narrow point where a bridge can be built, but still close enough to the sea to allow ships to dock. They find it at a bend in the River Thames, just before it widens into an estuary. This spot has no city, no streets, no buildings, just marshland, mud, and reeds. But strategically, it's perfect. The Romans build a wooden bridge here, exactly where London Bridge stands today, and establish a small settlement beside it. They name it Londinium. Within 10 years, the settlement explodes into life. Merchants arrive from Gaul, soldiers from Syria, traders from North Africa. Roman roads connect the town to the wider province. Warehouses line the riverbanks. Ships unload wine, olive oil, ceramics, and grain. Londinium becomes the beating heart of Roman, but its rise is brutally interrupted. Just 17 years after its founding, rebellion sweeps the province. Queen Boudica, leader of the Iceni tribe, has had enough of Roman rule. Her forces destroy Londinium and Verulamium, then march on Londinium. The Romans abandon the city. Boudica's army burns it to the ground. Centuries later, archaeologists will uncover a thick layer of red ash beneath modern London, physical proof of that day of destruction. Rome does not forgive rebellion. The city is rebuilt larger, stronger, wealthier. A massive stone wall is constructed around Londinium, enclosing the settlement and protecting it from future attacks. Parts of this wall still survive today, hidden beneath modern streets. At its peak, Londinium is home to around 60,000 people, making it the largest city in Britain. It has forums, bathhouses, temples, amphitheaters, a fully developed Roman city. No longer a frontier outpost, but a provincial capital. Then the empire begins to unravel. By the early 5th century, Rome is under attack from all sides. Barbarian tribes push into imperial territory. The cost of defending distant provinces becomes unbearable. In 410 AD, Emperor Honorius sends a message to Britain. Rome can no longer protect it. The legions leave, and almost overnight, Londinium collapses. Roman trade networks vanish. Coins lose their value. Imported goods stop arriving. Merchants, administrators, and skilled craftsmen leave in search of stability elsewhere. Within a generation, a city of tens of thousands is reduced to a few hundred squatters living among ruins. For the next 2 centuries, Londinium is almost completely abandoned. Stone buildings decay. Roofs collapse. Streets fill with weeds. Mosaic floors crack as plants push through them. The Thames continues to flow past empty quays and ruined docks. When the Anglo-Saxons begin settling Britain, they avoid the city entirely. To them, the Roman ruins are terrifying. One Saxon poem describes the empty city as the work of giants too vast, too alien to be built by ordinary people. Instead of reoccupying Londinium, they build somewhere new. Around the 670s, they establish a trading settlement about a mile west of the Roman walls. They call it Londonwick, meaning London Trading Town. Today, this area includes Covent Garden, the Strand, and parts of Soho. Londonwick thrives. By the early 8th century, ships arrive from across Europe. Amber from the Baltic, wine from the Rhineland, pottery from France, Metalwork from Germany. Markets buzz with activity. Craftsmen set up workshops. Houses spread outward from the river. At its height, Londonwick may have 8,000 residents, modest by Roman standards, but prosperous by early medieval ones. Then the river brings danger. From the late 8th century, Viking longships begin appearing on the Thames. At first, they raid, then they return, again and again. In 842, Londonwick is sacked. In 851, it is destroyed again. These are no longer hit-and-run attacks. Viking forces are using the river as a highway, sailing deep inland with devastating speed. In 886, King Alfred the Great finally retakes London from the Danes. Instead of rebuilding Londonwick, Alfred makes a bold decision. He moves the population back inside the old Roman walls. The abandoned ruins are suddenly valuable again. The ancient fortifications are repaired. Defensive ditches are redug. The city becomes Londonburg, a fortress. The old Saxon settlement is left empty, gradually earning a new name, Aldwych, meaning old settlement. The name still survives on London street signs today. Over the next century, London repeatedly changes hands between Saxon and Danish rulers. Control of the city means control of trade, money, and power. In 1016, King Canute makes London his capital. In 1042, Edward the Confessor ascends the throne and builds Westminster Abbey just west of the city walls. That single decision permanently shapes London's geography. From now on, there are two centers of power: the City of London, commerce and money; Westminster, kings, government, and religion. When Edward dies childless in January 1066, England collapses into crisis. Harold Godwinson is crowned king, but across the Channel, William, Duke of Normandy, claims the throne. Harold defeats a Norwegian invasion in the north, then marches south to face William. On October 14, 1066, at the Battle of Hastings, Harold is killed. William wins. By Christmas Day, he is crowned King of England at Westminster Abbey. The Norman conquest begins. William does not trust London's population, which supported Harold. To control the city, he builds 3 fortresses. The largest becomes the Tower of London. Its central keep, the White Tower, stands nearly 90 feet tall, with walls up to 12 feet thick. It dominates the skyline, a permanent symbol of Norman authority. Medieval London grows rapidly. By 1100, around 15,000 people live within the walls. Narrow streets twist between timber houses. Upper floors jet out over the road, nearly touching above pedestrians' heads. Merchant guilds rise to power: goldsmiths, fishmongers, drapers, mercers. These organizations regulate trade, prices, and apprenticeships. Their influence grows so strong that kings are forced to negotiate with them. In 1215, when rebellious barons force King John to sign the Magna Carta, London's support is essential. In return, the city secures unprecedented freedoms, including the right to elect its own mayor. Between 1176 and 1209, London Bridge is rebuilt in stone. It takes 33 years to complete. The bridge becomes a city unto itself. Shops, homes, chapels, and drawbridges line both sides. Traitors' heads are displayed on spikes above the gate as warnings. For over 600 years, it remains the only bridge across the Thames. Then catastrophe returns. In 1348, ships dock carrying rats. On those rats are fleas infected with Yersinia pestis. The Black Death tears through London. Within 2 years, between 1/3 and 1/2 of the population is dead. Bodies overwhelm graveyards. Mass burial pits are dug outside the walls. Entire streets are abandoned. London survives, but it is forever changed. Social order fractures. Labor shortages empower workers. Wages rise. Tensions explode. In 1381, Wat Tyler leads the Peasants' Revolt. Rebels march into London, storm the Tower, execute senior officials, and burn palaces. Though the revolt is crushed, the ruling elite is terrified. The people have discovered their power. By 1500, London's population reaches 50,000. Then growth accelerates dramatically. By 1600, 200,000 people. By 1650, nearly 400,000. London becomes the largest city in Europe. Henry VIII's break with the Catholic Church transforms the city. Monasteries are dissolved. their vast lands seized and sold. Aristocrats and merchants build grand townhouses. London expands outward. Under Elizabeth I, London becomes Europe's cultural capital. The Globe Theatre opens in 1599. Shakespeare stages Hamlet, Macbeth, King Lear. The East India Company is founded, laying the groundwork for empire. But London remains fragile. In 1665, plague returns. Around 100,000 people die. 1 year later, disaster strikes again. On September 2, 1666, a fire begins in a bakery on Pudding Lane, fueled by timber buildings and strong winds. The fire rages for 4 days. 85% of the city inside the walls is destroyed. Over 13,000 houses vanish. 87 churches burn, including Old St. Paul's Cathedral. Only a handful die in the flames, but 100,000 are left homeless. Architect Christopher Wren proposes rebuilding London as a modern city of wide boulevards and grand squares. His vision is mostly rejected, but new building laws change everything. From now on, London will be built of brick and stone. Wren rebuilds St. Paul's Cathedral, completing it 35 years later. Its dome becomes one of the city's defining landmarks. The 18th century brings the Enlightenment. Coffee houses become hubs of information and debate. Lloyd's of London and the Stock Exchange are born. Britain's empire expands, and London becomes its financial core. The Industrial Revolution reshapes the city yet again. By 1801, London has 1 million residents. By 1901, it has 6.5 million, the largest city on Earth. The Victorians build on an enormous scale. Trafalgar Square, the Houses of Parliament, Tower Bridge, the Underground, and a sewer system that finally cleans the Thames. But inequality is brutal. Slums spread through the East End. Cholera kills tens of thousands. Crime surges. The 20th century brings war. During the Blitz, German bombers strike London night after night. Entire neighborhoods are destroyed. Yet landmarks like St. Paul's Cathedral survive, standing defiant amid the smoke. After the war, London is battered, broke, and exhausted. The empire dissolves, but the city rebuilds again. Immigration reshapes London's identity. The Windrush generation arrives in 1948, followed by millions from across the former empire and beyond. By the 21st century, London speaks over 300 languages. It is a city built on destruction and rebirth, a city that refuses to die.